Last night's episode of The Late Show with Stephen Colbert descended into unprecedented chaos when Noah Wyle was forcibly removed from the studio after Stephen Colbert mocked his medical humanitarian work and accused him of using charity for publicity. The former star didn't just defend his decades of service. He exposed Colbert's performative activism with receipts that left the host speechless and CBS facing serious questions about their flagship late-night show. But what started as promotion for Wyle's new medical drama would reveal disturbing truths about how Colbert treats guests who actually do the work he only talks about. The Ed Sullivan Theater carried an unusual energy from the moment Wyle arrived. The 53-year-old actor was there to discuss his new series about doctors in war zones, inspired by his real experiences in South Sudan and Haiti. But Colbert's writers had prepared something entirely different. A production assistant later revealed that Colbert had specifically instructed them to expose the white savior complex and find out what he really gets from playing doctor in Africa. The warm-up comedian had been making jokes about Hollywood heroes and actors who think they're actually doctors. Multiple staffers expressed concern about the planned ambush, with one writer reportedly telling Colbert, "This guy actually does the work," only to be dismissed with, "They all say that." Therefore, when the cameras rolled, Wyle was walking into a carefully orchestrated attack on his humanitarian efforts. The show opened with Colbert's typical monologue, including several pointed jokes about celebrities who vacation in disaster zones for Instagram photos that seemed like general commentary but were clearly targeted. Wyle waited backstage, reviewing statistics about medical facilities he'd helped establish, completely unaware that Colbert had no intention of discussing the actual work. His publicist would later reveal that they'd been assured the interview would focus on how his humanitarian experiences informed his acting. When Colbert finally announced, "Please welcome Noah Wyle," he walked out with quiet confidence, waving to the audience with the understated manner of someone more comfortable in field hospitals than television studios. "Noah, welcome back to the show," Colbert began with his familiar smile. "So, another medical drama. Don't you think we have enough of those? This one's different, Stephen. It's based on real experiences of doctors working in conflict zones. We're trying to show what medical humanitarian work actually looks like," Wyle explained calmly. "Right, your humanitarian work," Colbert said with notable sarcasm. "How convenient that your charity work always seems to coincide with your publicity tours." The studio went quiet. Wyle's expression didn't change, but his eyes sharpened. "I've been doing medical missions for 23 years, Stephen, long before social media existed. This isn't about publicity," he said evenly. "Isn't it, though? Every celebrity needs a cause now. It's great branding," Colbert pressed, leaning back with manufactured skepticism. "Branding," Wyle repeated slowly. "I've spent months in South Sudan treating children with preventable diseases. That's not branding. That's medical care. But you're not actually a doctor. You just played one on TV," Colbert said, getting the laugh he wanted from some audience members. Therefore, the dismissive attack had begun immediately, wrapped in Colbert's trademark ironic detachment. Wyle leaned forward, his calmness somehow more intense than anger would have been. "You're right, I'm not a doctor. I'm a trained medical volunteer who's administered thousands of vaccines, assisted in hundreds of procedures, and helped build 17 clinics. But please, tell me more about what I haven't done from behind your desk," Wyle responded. "I'm just questioning the white savior narrative," Colbert claimed, playing to his progressive audience. "And I'm questioning your moral authority to judge anyone's humanitarian work. When was the last time you left this studio to help anyone directly?" Wyle asked pointedly. "I use my platform to raise awareness," Colbert defended. "You use your platform to make jokes. There's a difference between talking about problems and actually addressing them," Wyle observed. He stood up slowly, his movement deliberate. "You want to discuss white savior complex? Let's discuss it. I work under local doctors. I follow their protocols. I help train local medical staff. Every clinic we've built is run by the community. But you wouldn't know that because you didn't research. You just assumed," he said. "Sit down, Noah. We're having a conversation," Colbert said, his authority already wavering. "No, we're having a performance. You're performing righteousness while sitting in a temperature-controlled studio. I've held children dying from malaria. Which one of us understands actual suffering? While asked, the audience was completely silent. Several people shifted uncomfortably. But then Colbert made a crucial mistake. It must be nice to feel so superior, he said snidely. Superior? I've spent weeks without running water to provide medical care. You won't even drink tap water. Who feels superior here? While shot back. But then he revealed something that changed everything. You know what your research team didn't find? That I've never publicized 90% of my missions. No cameras, no press releases, no social media. Just work. But that doesn't fit your narrative, does it? He said. Everyone publicizes charity now, Colbert claimed. Do they? Then you should have records. Show them. Show the audience where I've used humanitarian work for publicity before tonight. While challenged, Colbert couldn't. His staff scrambled, but found nothing. The silence stretched painfully. But Wyle wasn't finished. You want to know something interesting? Your parent company, CBS, declined to support our medical missions 4 times. Said it wasn't brand aligned. But now you're questioning my motives, he said. He turned to the audience. And this is where something important happens. You know, there are people watching who actually want to help, who see suffering and want to act, but don't know how. If you're one of those people, please share this moment. Comment with your own experiences of trying to help. Like this video not for the confrontation, but to spread awareness about how we can all contribute. Your engagement might inspire someone else to act. Sometimes a single share can connect someone with the opportunity to genuinely help others. Don't let cynics like him make you feel naive for caring, he said directly to the camera. The audience response was immediate. Several people applauded. Others nodded in agreement. But Colbert, desperate to regain control, made things worse. This is very moving, but it doesn't address the fundamental problem of Western intervention, he said, retreating to academic language. Western intervention? I'm providing antibiotics to children with infections. Should I let them die for the sake of your political philosophy? While asked, that's not what I meant, Colbert backtracked. Then what did you mean? Explain to me why providing medical care is problematic. Explain why saving lives needs political analysis. While pressed, Colbert couldn't answer coherently. He stumbled through half-formed thoughts about systematic issues and complex dynamics. But while cut through it, you're using academic jargon to justify an action. It's intellectual cowardice dressed as sophistication, he said. That's unfair, Colbert protested. Is it? You critique everyone who tries to help while doing nothing yourself. You've turned cynicism into a brand. You've made caring seem foolish. That's not progressive. It's paralysis, while observed. He moved closer to Colbert's desk. You know what I realized in South Sudan? That a child with malaria doesn't care about my skin color or nationality. They care about the medicine. Your political theory means nothing to someone dying from a preventable disease, he said. You're oversimplifying, Colbert accused. And you're overcomplicating. Not everything needs to be deconstructed. Sometimes help is just help. Sometimes medicine is just medicine. Sometimes caring doesn't require a dissertation, Wyle replied. Therefore, the philosophical destruction was systematic. But then Wyle revealed something that stunned everyone. Your wife attended one of our fundraisers. She donated $50,000. She told me she was inspired by the work. But you? You mock it on television. What does that say about you? He said. Colbert's face went red. Don't bring my family into this, he warned. You brought my integrity into this. You question my motives, my work, my decades of service. But your own wife believes in what we do. Maybe you should ask her why, Wyle suggested. The revelation that Colbert's wife supported Wyle's work while Colbert attacked, it was devastating. The hypocrisy was undeniable. But Colbert made his fatal error. Security, remove him, he said into his microphone. The audience gasped. Having security remove a guest for defending humanitarian work was unprecedented. But Wyle laughed. Perfect. You're literally silencing someone who actually helps people. Please, have me removed for discussing medical care for children, he said. 2 security guards approached reluctantly. The audience began booing Colbert loudly. Several people stood up in protest. This is my show, Colbert said desperately. And those are real lives you're trivializing. The difference is, your show can be canceled. Those children can't be brought back, Wyle said. As security moved closer, he raised his hand. I'll leave. But first, let me say something to everyone who's ever been mocked for caring too much, for trying to help, for believing they can make a difference. You can. Don't let cynics who do nothing tell you otherwise, he said. He looked directly at Colbert. You've built a career on mocking sincerity. You've made cynicism seem sophisticated. But you know what? The world needs people who care more than it needs people who critique. It needs action more than it needs your ironic detachment, he said. Get out, Colbert said quietly. I'm going. But remember this moment. The moment you had security remove someone for defending medical humanitarian work. The moment you chose performance over purpose. The moment you exposed yourself as someone who talks about change but attacks those who create it, Wyle said. He walked toward the exit, then turned back. By the way, we're opening a new clinic next month in Haiti. We could use volunteers. Even cynical talk show hosts. Though I doubt you'll come. It's easier to judge from here than to help from there, he said. He left to thunderous applause. The entire audience gave him a standing ovation. Many walked out in solidarity. The show had to go to commercial immediately. Within minutes, #ColbertExposed was trending globally. The clip of him calling security on someone defending humanitarian work went viral instantly. Medical professionals and humanitarian workers shared their own experiences of being dismissed by armchair critics. But the real impact came from within CBS. Staff members began revealing Colbert's pattern of mocking guests who did actual charitable work while promoting celebrities who only talked about causes. The hypocrisy was systemic. Colbert attempted to continue after commercial, but the audience was hostile. People shouted "hypocrite" and "do something" throughout his monologue. He ended the show early, visibly shaken. The next day brought severe consequences. Humanitarian organizations condemned Colbert's behavior. Medical charities reported a surge in donations and volunteer applications, all crediting Wyle's appearance. Colbert's own wife released a statement confirming her support for Wyle's work and expressing disappointment in her husband's behavior. Wyle's response was measured but powerful. He released footage of his work in South Sudan, showing him performing actual medical procedures, training local staff, and building facilities. No publicity, no cameras except for documentation. Just work. CBS faced immediate backlash. Sponsors supporting humanitarian causes pulled their support. The network that positioned itself as progressive was exposed as attacking actual progressives who did real work. Meanwhile, Wyle's new medical drama received massive support. Networks competed to air it. His humanitarian organization received millions in donations. He'd turned Colbert's attack into a movement. But the deeper conversation was about performative versus actual activism. Wyle had exposed how media figures who talked about change often attacked those creating it. How cynicism had become confused with intelligence. How ironic detachment had replaced genuine engagement. Colbert eventually returned after a 2-week suspension, but his credibility was destroyed. His moral authority, built on critiquing others, crumbled when faced with someone who actually did the work. His audience, particularly those involved in charitable work, largely abandoned him. The incident became known as the Wyle Revelation. Universities taught it as an example of the difference between talking about problems and solving them. It showed how cynicism could become its own form of moral failure. Years later, Colbert would admit the encounter had forced him to reconsider everything. I'd spent so long critiquing that I'd forgotten how to contribute. Noah exposed that emptiness, he said in a podcast. But that night, all anyone saw was Noah, while refusing to let his humanitarian work be diminished by someone who'd never helped anyone directly. Refusing to accept that caring was naive. Refusing to let cynicism win. He'd been kicked off the show, but he'd walked away with purpose intact while Colbert sat behind his desk, exposed as someone who mocked action while taking none. The security guards who'd escorted him out later revealed they'd thanked him backstage. "We knew who the real hero was," one said. That quiet dignity became the lasting image. Noah Wyle, removed for defending humanitarian work. walking with purpose, while Stephen Colbert sat exposed as exactly what he claimed to oppose. Someone who used progressive language to mask moral emptiness. The empty chair, while left, became a symbol of all the people doing real work while being mocked by those doing nothing. All the helpers dismissed by critics. All the sincere efforts diminished by ironic detachment. And Stephen Colbert became a cautionary tale about how cynicism could become cowardice, how criticism could replace contribution, and how talking about change could become an excuse for creating none. The difference was clear. While left to continue saving lives, Colbert remained to continue making jokes. One had been forcibly removed from a show. The other had been permanently removed from relevance. Everyone watching knew which removal actually mattered.